The state of Connecticut was recently struck by a devastating natural disaster, as torrential rainfall led to widespread flooding. Homes were inundated, businesses were forced to close, and transportation networks were crippled as the state grappled with the sheer force of nature's fury. The heavy rains began early in the week, steadily intensifying and overwhelming drainage systems ill-equipped to handle the sheer volume of water. Among the hardest-hit areas was the town of Oxford, located in New Haven County. The normally tranquil little river transformed into a raging torrent, overflowing its banks and inundating homes and businesses along its path. As the floodwaters receded, the true extent of the damage began to emerge, revealing a landscape scarred by the power of nature. The devastating floods in Oxford, Connecticut claimed the lives of 2 women, adding a heartbreaking human toll to the catastrophic natural disaster. Ethelyn Joyner, 65, and Audrey Rostkowski, 71, both residents of Oxford, lost their lives in separate incidents after being swept away by the surging floodwaters. Ethelyn Joyner found herself trapped inside her car on Route 67 as the rising waters quickly engulfed her vehicle. In a separate incident, Audrey Rostkowski also became stranded on Route 67, her car overtaken by the rapidly rising floodwaters. In response to the catastrophic flooding that ravaged parts of Connecticut, Governor Ned Lamont declared a state of emergency, mobilizing all available resources to aid in the rescue and recovery efforts. Governor Lamont, visibly shaken by the extent of the devastation, toured the hardest-hit areas, witnessing firsthand the destruction left in the wake of the receding floodwaters. He met with first responders, emergency management officials, and distraught residents, offering words of comfort and assuring them that the full resources of the state would be deployed to assist in the recovery process. The declaration of a state of emergency activated the Connecticut National Guard, deploying troops to assist with evacuations, search and rescue operations, and the distribution of essential supplies to those displaced by the floods. Governor Lamont, in a somber address to the state, pledged to do everything in his power to help communities rebuild and recover from this devastating natural disaster. Section 4. Daring Rescues Amidst the Chaos. Stories of Hope and Heroism. As floodwaters raged through Connecticut, stories of extraordinary bravery and selfless acts of heroism emerged from the chaos, offering glimmers of hope amidst the devastation. First responders, working tirelessly in treacherous conditions, risked their own lives to save others, while ordinary citizens stepped up to help their neighbors in need. In Oxford, a group of 30 people attending a birthday party at Jackson Cove, a popular beach area on Lake Zoa, found themselves stranded when the entrance road was washed away by the rising waters. Responding to the distress call, a team of firefighters utilizing a boat navigated the treacherous floodwaters, successfully evacuating all 30 individuals to safety in Southbury. Section 5. Assessing the damage. A long road to recovery lies ahead. As the floodwaters receded in the aftermath of the devastating floods that ravaged Connecticut, the true extent of the damage began to come into focus, revealing a long and arduous road to recovery for the affected communities. The Connecticut Department of Transportation faced a daunting task as numerous roads and bridges were washed away or rendered impassable by the floodwaters. The economic impact of the floods, particularly on small businesses already grappling with the lingering effects of the pandemic, is expected to be significant. The recovery process, while already underway, is expected to be lengthy and challenging, requiring a concerted effort from local, state and federal agencies, as well as the resilience and determination of the affected communities. Section 6 calls for federal aid and the looming threat of climate change. In the wake of the catastrophic flooding that devastated parts of Connecticut, there were growing calls for federal aid to assist in the long and costly recovery process. State and local officials, along with U.S. Senator Richard Blumenthal, toured the hardest-hit areas, assessing the damage and advocating for swift and substantial federal assistance. Senator Blumenthal, deeply moved by the scale of the devastation, pledged to fight for the necessary resources to help Connecticut rebuild. The catastrophic flood served as a stark reminder of the looming threat of climate change and the urgent need for action to address its impacts.